What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This is season 5, episode 6. And baby, that chaos that went down at Angie's house, gold. The way Jared and Brittany had me giggle. Brittany said, I said, what in the days of our lives is going on? But let's get into the review. Sometimes before we get into it, we get a little spicy, just a little bit. And the only thing I want to talk about is this whole jewelry podcaster situation. Now, shouts out to everybody that's been in the comments, pretty much letting me know that the person that Whitney called last episode was actually up and at him on YouTube. Well, he came out on his TikTok and pretty much explained that like Lisa is not the person that gave him this information. And I want to play that clip for you guys. I also want to play this clip of Dana Wilkie. Now, one of y'all told me about her too. Did not remember that lady until somebody posted a screenshot, which actually was Bryce Sanders. And I saw a quote tweet from Gibson John who said, updating. Apparently, it was Dana Wilkie of the $25,000 frames. I remember her with the glasses and stuff, who initially posted about the Alibaba thing, talking about #SLC this season. I'm speechless. And so I was like, oh, that's Dana Wilkie. So then
All right, guys. So as you saw tonight, I had a phone call with Whitney, which was actually an interesting phone call. And the way that they edited it was pretty interesting to me, but you guys are going to see how this plays out. However, at the end of the day, this phone call was toward the end of the season, so I was really surprised to see that it was in episode 5. They did leave out an important part of the phone call when I was talking to her, and I said I talked to a friend, but also said friend was not the same person who released Alibaba, the stuff about her jewelry line. But also at the end of it, too, what they left out of the phone call, which I challenge Bravo to share this because I think it's very important, is the fact that I literally said, I am so sorry, Whitney. I know you wanted to find out if it was Lisa. I know you wanted it to be Lisa. Unfortunately, I could not find that information because Lisa was pretty much the suspect. That's who Whitney thought it was. Whitney thought that Lisa was capable of doing this. And I didn't know if she was or not. There's always rumors about the Housewives. And I said to Whitney, I will help you find out who is the one spreading this stuff about the jewelry line and the Alibaba of it all. But also Whitney told me that none of that was true. So there's more. Keep watching. And yeah, it was fun to make a little cameo. But keep your eye out. More to come.
So that is what Adam had to say. Now, shouts out to y'all for jumping down in my comments, letting me know that it was up in Adam that was on the phone with Whitney. I wonder why they put it out of sequence. And I remember another person said that Dana Wilkie was the one that said that that was up in Adam and that she released the story first. And I said, who is Dana Wilkie? I was just like, I do not remember nobody named Dana Wilkie. I was like, am I supposed to know who that name is? YouTube page. And so I went on her Instagram and she actually did post that she had the Whitney Rose. It said Whitney Rose scandal. And it says, it's not Lisa Barlow, #SLC. Wait until I tell you the next season scandal. The diamond knows. She said, dishing the drama. They should have paid the $3K, so short-sighted, cheapskate. So I guess she is letting it be known that like she blackmailing people, because I'm like, why should they have paid the $3K? I don't know what that means. But she does have the same exact pictures that they've been showing in the episode of like the stuff that she got from Alibaba. So then I like went back to like scrolling on my timeline because I don't follow Dana, and then I follow Bravo Snark sides. So then their page popped up and they actually had an audio clip from Dana, either talking on her podcast or on YouTube about this situation. And this is what it says. It says, Dana Wilkie says Whitney Rose pressured Adam to tell her what she wanted to hear. And the real informant is who we least expect. So let me play that clip for you.
Rose pressured Adam before he could get a hold of me to tell him what she wanted to hear on the show. And Adam rolled with it, I'm gathering, because nobody else released the Alibaba gossip except for me. And that's because the person picked me very intentionally that actually wanted to call out Whitney Rose's business. Now, I know today you are dying for me to tell you who I think this cast member is. Why do I say think? Well, because this cast member tried to use a Finsta account to do it, but they did it in a way that I know who it is. The plot thickens. This person was very angry behind the scenes at what Whitney Rose did on the show to them after they were so close. This person has ties to staff members that gossip and are known to gossip. And this cast member is the best researcher of gossip out of the whole cast. And that is saying something that I admire and respect them. And I know this firsthand. And this person is very strategic how they deliver information on the show and when to deliver information on the show that usually helps with iconic scenes and storylines, and is the person that you would least likely expect to drop this tea. And if you can figure out who it is, then you just got the information that you listened to. Rose.
That's what Dana had to say. I know in Bravo Snarkside's comments after they posted this clip, a lot of people were like, they believe she's talking about Heather. But I'm just like, Heather's not somebody you would least expect. Like, I could see Heather being vindictive in that way to get back at Whitney because, like, they were not cool last season. So I'm just like, but then I saw someone say Angie, and I was like, that is somebody I would least expect. Like, I don't see Mary having the time to do that. I feel like Lisa would do something like this, but she wouldn't be this sloppy, especially after what happened last season. But I'm just kind of like, is it Heather? Because the way she was like, this person is very, like, they have people that gossip around her. And I remember when the whole thing happened with the reality Von Tees, we found out that Heather's hairdresser, her hairdresser, she was like friends with Monica and they were trading tea. So, I mean, I feel like it could either be Heather or Angie. But I feel like Dana should just say who it is. But that's just me. But let's get into this review. Y'all, so let's talk about it. So the episode opens up and we find out that it's Angie and Sean's 25th wedding anniversary. And the theme that she's going with is Mafia, mob wives. So everyone's supposed to dress up like I did not like this theme. I'm going to just keep it a buck. I know I saw a lot of people online going up for it, but to be honest, it felt corny and played out to me because to me last season when Angie was upset about the whole Greek mafia line, I didn't even take and maybe, but I'll say this, I'm not Greek, so I don't know if that is like something that's often like thrusted upon like people in that culture. So I didn't really think it was that big of an offense for her to be that mad at Meredith. But I also know that her and Meredith were arguing last season over like the rumors and the nastiness. And I don't know if that was just like the cherry on top. And when I say like, I don't know if I can be like, I may not be offended by it, but I don't know if that's something that is often thrown at people who are Greek, that like they try to associate them with that when they see them doing well. So if that's why she was upset, then I would understand it that way. But to me, I was like, girl, having a Greek mafia or mob party, it just didn't hit. And I was actually on I agree with Meredith when Meredith was just kind of like, just don't really symbolize love to me. It doesn't, because like I loved Mob Wives. That was my show, okay? But like that was the relationships that those women were in were all very, very volatile and toxic. It did not symbolize love to me, even when I was a kid watching that show. So I don't know if I would want that to be my theme for like a celebration of me being together with my husband for 25 years. But we see this guy that Angie meets up with. He's going around posting like wanted posters on people's doors. I think the only 3 we got to see was for Mary, Lisa, Whitney. No, I think we saw all of the girls. They called Lisa, we were saying that she was wanted for loose lips, aka Baby Gorgeous. They called Heather, I think it was like wanted for being a bad Mormon, and it was like the lip filler killer or something like that. But we see the guy go to Lisa's house and he pins it on the door. I was like, I don't even think the man said hello to her. I think she opened up the door and he just did. I said, I would have been like, excuse me, give me that. Don't put that on my door. Might mess. I don't put that on my door. So she walks in. She takes the poster and then she walks into her kitchen with her kid and her husband. And so she sits down and her husband is like, "What's this?" And she's just like, "Oh, it's Angie's invitation for her wedding anniversary." And he's like, "Oh, are we gonna go? Like, I'm kind of surprised that she sent you one because you told me y'all won't cool after Milwaukee." And she was like, "Yeah." And Lisa's like, "I don't know if I want to go, especially after finding out from Heather that she was calling me a bad mom and questioning my parenting." All the while they're having this conversation, Henry, which is Lisa's youngest son, is sitting there listening. And she was like, "Do you think I'm a bad mom?" And he was like, no. You cool to me. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think Lisa is a bad mom. I think Lisa might have insecurities around the way she parents and you know, her children, that like when people question it, it bothers her. Because I'm just like, I wouldn't have taken too offensively of Angie being like, "I don't let my kid play video games." Okay, that's your child. If my kid is making A's and B's and doing fine and has a social life beyond the video games, I don't really care what you have to say about me. You know what I'm saying? But I do understand that, like, no one wants someone to critique their parenting, you know? So the little boy was like, "Well, maybe y'all should box about it." And Lisa was like, "No." And Henry was like, "That's what me and my friends do." And Lisa was like, "What?" I said, "Not them. I bet you them little kids be in the woods like Fight Club, just throwing hands." And so Henry brings up like, "Hey, oh, isn't it Monday? Shouldn't we call Jack?" And so we end up seeing them call Jack. He seems to be doing better. They ruled out all the like severe things that could be wrong with him. Honestly, I think it's because he ain't never had real spice, you know, and that's his insides don't know what it's doing. But it was a nice conversation. We then switch over from them to this sit down with Whitney and Meredith. So Whitney wants to apologize to Meredith now that she got this information from Adam that it is Lisa, or who she feels like it confirmed that it was Lisa. So Meredith is like, she don't know what this conversation is going to entail. She kind of is not like, she don't really want to be around Whitney because she's just like, Whitney keeps hurting her and Whitney won't take accountability. And she said, the last time we had a talk, girl, you was basically cussing me out in the Sprinter while we was in Milwaukee. So Meredith comes in, she sits down, and Whitney is like kind of stumbling over her words and trying to get things together. And then she just is like, "You know what, I'm gonna just come out and say it. I'm sorry that I accused you of the jewelry situation." She said, "I ended up finding out that from somebody that's a reliable source, that's a credible source, that it's actually Lisa who was the one that put out the information." And Meredith is like, "Are you sure about that?" And Whitney's like, "Well, Meredith is the one that," not Whitney is like, "Well, Lisa is the one that brought it to you, Meredith. And then I'm finding out that she left my jewelry in Milwaukee in the trash, and now this." And I like the fact that Meredith, even though her and Lisa's relationship has been rocky and it's Lisa's fault, okay? When Lisa had that hot mic moment, it's Lisa's fault. But now that they are actually seriously trying to work on their relationship, I like the fact that Meredith is just like, I see what Whitney is trying to do. She's trying to get me on her side. And honestly, I'm not about to turn around and do the same thing that Lisa did to me to her. Like, that's just not how I'm about to roll. So then Meredith ends up telling Whitney, "Well, girl, you might need to make sure that information is actually from a credible source." Because to me, even if Adam didn't come out or Dana Wilkie didn't say anything, I still don't think that that was credible. Saying that, like, unless someone legit was like, "That is Lisa," and you can show me proof of the burner account is how the IP addresses link up to the same thing, then I wouldn't just believe that unless you got actual confirmation from that person in the DMs. But you talking to somebody and them saying like, "Well, they couldn't directly tell me who it was," and I just went around asking them, like, "Does this person have a health spa? Does this person have a jewelry line? Does this person have an alcohol line?" And then being like, "Yes," that's not enough for me. I want you to tell me that it's them. I want you to show me proof, because I don't want to walk around looking stupid over here accusing people of something that they didn't do. And then I'm over here getting cussed out and they didn't do it, you know? So Meredith is just like, you need to really have a conversation with her, Whitney, and make sure that that information is actual factual. Next thing we have is a Mary girl. Yo, okay. So after getting the information that we got earlier in my pat, like, maybe 2 week, no, would it be 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, about Robert Jr. being going to rehab, and he was on that powder, the fentanyl, and I heard this dude, instead of calling it the devil's lettuce, people been calling it the I think, was it called the blessed cabbage? I don't know. But he had a lot of stuff in his system. And now, and he went to rehab, and he seems to be doing better now. So with that context in this scene, it definitely plays out that way, that that boy had a problem. Cause the way him and his wife Lex walked into the house, and Mary was like, "Where you been?" And he was like, "Oh, we was at my friend's house." And she was like, "Well, I've been calling you and you haven't been picking up." And he was like, "Well, the call didn't get through." And his speech is slurred. His eyes are barely open. You could tell that the wife might be also elevated and high as well, because she wasn't really making like that much eye, like she was looking at Mary but trying not to look at Mary the same way Robert Jr. was trying not to look at Mary. But he was trying his best to get up to the stairs, and when Mary said, "Well, I'm about to have company come over, don't come down these stairs no more," or she said something about don't, no, she said, "Don't reappear." And I felt that, because don't embarrass me, like I've been calling you all day trying to make sure that you're okay, but you can do the common decency of a thing, because I'm worried about you, because I know you're doing drugs. Like, I want to make sure you're okay, and you couldn't even give me that. You couldn't give me that. Yeah, don't reappear when my company comes. You already done embarrassed me while the cameras is here. Don't do it again. And then Mary explaining, in her confessional, and I kind of like this confessional. Like, I like it more than I like Angie's white confessional. And this is kind of giving costumey, but it's giving Mary. So I think that's why I like because I could see Mary wearing this. But pretty much, Mary says that ever since Robert got with Lex, he hasn't been listening to her. He hasn't been confiding in Mary. He just confides in her, and she misses that relationship. She also says how she knows he needs help right now, and he's just and I feel like her saying he needs help means she know her child is on that stuff, as well as she's scared that if she kicks him out on the streets, he might never come back, because he doesn't want to come back, or because he can't come back because he's no longer here. And I wonder why, because there's always a reason why someone is engaging in addictive behavior. If it's something happened, or it's a mental illness. I wonder if or if it's just his upbringing. Like, some people who are extremely sheltered, and that's why you can't do that to your kids, is they oftentimes run to what is dangerous, because they haven't had the ability to do it beforehand, and then unfortunately they get addicted. So she's worried about her child, and it's understandable. And it's still crazy to me that he got married to that girl, and I don't even know if they really married, because they put quotations around wife, and I'm like, are they married? Are they not married? The whole story around that relationship is so weird. And I remember when Mary cried, because she was like, "Why am I hearing rumors that you're married?" And he was on that couch laughing "Cause I am." And the way she broke down, that really hurt her. That really hurt her. So there's a knock at the door, and we find out that it's Bronwyn. Bronwyn brings over this beautiful flower arrangement of orchids. Bronwyn and Mary actually kind of connected. Bronwyn says, she knew Mary was her type of girl when she saw her at the Bezos party, and Mary had on, I can't remember what fashion house jacket on, but she just loved the coat, and she said, "This is my girl." And then when they walked into the kitchen, Mary has a Tiffany blue kitchen, and we know Bronwyn has a blue kitchen as well. And Bronwyn was like, "Girl, Mary, are we best friends? Because I have a blue kitchen." She also explains how she was just your house is too white for me because I got all them dogs. And we know she got 6 or 7 boxers. So it's a lot going on there. So they sit down, and they start talking, and Mary's like, "How have you been?" And Braun was like, "I don't know how fast information runs throughout this group, but I was actually surprised, because me and Lisa, when we were in Milwaukee, I found out that she actually has a really good relationship with my daughter's grandparents, and she's never met them." So then Mary was like, "Robert Jr. has never met my mom or dad. She's like, my dad died, and my mom and I don't have a relationship." And she was like, Robert Sr.'s parents have passed away. And she brings brings up how Robert would never like to go to grandparents' day when they would have it at school. He went to a school where they were allowed students to bring their grandparents to school, and it would hurt him. And Bronwyn was like, I can relate to that, with my daughter. And she was just like, we get a little bit more about Mary. We find out that her mom seems to be incredibly selfish, that she didn't really take care of her kids. Mary was like, we had money, but my mom wouldn't go get food. And she was like, she only really thought about herself, and we were always having to fend for ourselves. So like when I got older, I made sure that I was never that way with Robert. So you can see she might have probably overcompensated because of how her upbringing was. So Mary ends up saying the best way to get to your kids or to be with your kids is to be honest with them, be real with them, and be honest. And Brown was like, can you teach me that, Mary? Because I feel like I'm reaching my wits end with some of the ladies, mainly Heather. So Bronwyn ends up saying that she found out some information about Angie through Lisa, because the whole situation with Heather telling Lisa about what Angie said about her being like a bad mom and the whole things about that. And we see the flashback where Lisa and Bronwyn actually talked about it. So Bronwyn is telling Mary this, and Mary's eyes get all big, and she says, that's the thing about Heather. I've clocked it since I met her. She's two-faced. She leads like a trail of lies. Like, why are you telling Lisa things that Angie has said that is going to hurt her, especially if you want them to be cool again? And Bronwyn was like, yeah. And she was like, I don't think Angie knows that Heather told Lisa what she said. And she was like, I feel like Angie needs to know, because at this point, she's walking around not knowing that she is Lisa is mad at her for something that she shouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's time for the wedding anniversary, and we see Angie getting ready. She is actually her outfit or her hairstyle and everything is the same exact way of when she got married 25 years ago. I thought she looked really pretty in her dress. I didn't really like the dress, but I think overall Angie looked really pretty. We see her daughter Electra. Now, mind you, I don't know why I thought Electra was a lot younger. Maybe it's because every time they do that, when they talk about Electra, they pan to that picture of Sean with the pony and Electra and Angie in front of the pony together, and it's like she's a little girl. So I think in my mind I just assumed she was a young girl, but she's 12. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So one thing I'll give Angie is girl knows how to have a spread. Angie always has food at her events. When they had the Greek Easter, food. Food, and the spread looked really nice. And then they had an open bar. I really although I think the Mafia thing is kind of it's a corny theme, I did like the cake. I thought the cake was kind of cute. And I also like the champagne bottle had a picture of them around the it was the label. I thought that was really nice. So we see everybody pull up to the house. We see her dad and her aunt. We see Whitney get there. Whitney, before she got there, was talking to her glam squad, basically saying that she's not really looking forward to seeing Lisa because, it's reached an all-time low between them. But it is what it is. She also is kind of nervous about her husband coming. We see Bronwyn. I actually like Bronwyn's outfit. I like that. It looked like Cookie Monster, and I like Cookie Monster. So I thought it was a cute outfit. The way she had her little scarf on her. I said, oh, come on, Bronwyn. She looked cute to me. We see Mary get there, and it does really seem like Mary and Angie have a genuine relationship, because when Mary saw Angie, she was like, oh my God, you look beautiful. She looked genuinely happy for her, and she was just like, you look gorgeous. And so we then see Meredith get there, and Sean is greeting everybody at the door, and Meredith is actually surprised because y'all know Sean was not featuring Meredith last season. And we see they do a flashback from a week from now from the party where Angie is telling Sean, they're at home, she was like, I'm seeing a new side of Meredith and I would like to invite her to the party. And Sean is just like, I don't know if I want her in my house. I don't want to look over and there goes Meredith in the corner. But maybe if you really want to invite her, you can, but I'm going to have security so we can kick her out if she start acting ignorant. And so she's like, okay. And Meredith, is grateful that they invited her. She was like, thank you for inviting me to your home. And she even was like, I'm actually surprised that I'm in their house because, I thought I wasn't welcome. welcome. And then they do a flashback to last season where Angie lets Sean know about the whole gossip about, Meredith saying that she had tea on them to take their family down, and how like there's rumors that she was gay and out here sleeping with a bunch of men. And Sean was like, Meredith's not welcome in our home. But I guess he changed his tune because, his wife said, she got to come, we filming. Okay. So she walks in and she immediately, sees Whitney, and she's standing beside Bronwyn, and Meredith is telling Whitney, girl, you really need to talk to Lisa. Like, I hope you have a conversation with her, because like, I don't like being in the middle of things, and it just feels really uncomfortable with the stuff that you told me. Like, you need to talk to her and make sure y'all have like a serious conversation. Whitney looks annoyed by Meredith telling her this. Like, she kind of has this face like, girl, ugh. But I'm looking at Whitney like, well, you brought it to the show, so now it's a thing. So address it. Address it. So next thing you know, Lisa and John walk in, and Whitney's like, speak of the devil. Like I said, Lisa gets there. Sean is greeting everybody. He greets Lisa. He greets John, and then we see Angie. Angie is with Mary, and she sees Lisa, and she's like, okay. And I did think it was rude on both of their parts. I felt like Angie, since she was walking around greeting everybody, should have went up to Lisa and greeted her, and told her thank you for showing up. Or I felt like Lisa should have went over there and did the same thing about like, thank you for inviting me. Because at the end of the day, like, Angie is a hostess. Like, you're supposed to create a welcoming environment for everybody. And if you invited her, then you should have took that initiative. But I also feel like, Lisa, you decided to come, so you should take the initiative. So to me, they both were kind of being like rude to each other. Like, etiquette wise, they was being rude to each other. Cause I'm like, girl, might as well say hi to the lady. You at her house, and you might as well say hi to her because she came to your party. Because Angie even says in her confessional that she was actually happy that Lisa was there, because she was like, we've been friends for 15 years, and had she not shown up to this would have been the beginning of the end of our friendship, because this means a lot to me. So they're there, everyone's walking around, and then next thing you know, Brittany pop up, and she got a new man, and his name is Aaron. And I said, girl, you're a bird. Like, you couldn't come to the party by yourself. Like, come on, Brittany, you could not come to the party by yourself. So next thing you know, Meredith is like, who is that with Brittany? And Heather's like, what do you mean? And she was like, oh, that's Aaron, I know him. So then next thing you know, you see Meredith and Heather go over to Brittany and Aaron, and they're like, hey, and Aaron's like, hey, Heather. And we find out that Aaron and Heather hooked up a while, like years ago. But they said Utah or like Salt Lake City is very small, and there's not a lot of single people. So people done swapped each other a couple of times. So Brittany is saying in her confessional, like, she did not know that Aaron and Heather knew each other. Like, she was like, me and Jared are broken up, and this is what I normally do. I wipe off the tears. I immediately get on dating apps, and I just start swiping right to everybody and getting, and dating as many people as I can. I said, does that not bother you that this is like a pattern that you do, that like when y'all break up, you immediately get on dating apps because you're waiting for him to like take you back or y'all to get back together? Like, do you want the cycle? Like, it feels like you want the cycle to continue, Brittany. Let it go. Let the cycle go. So they're all like, oh, okay. So then Mary walks up to Aaron and Brittany and was like, hi, Jared. And everyone's like, girl, that's not Jared. And Mary's like, what do you mean? And they're like, his name is Aaron. And Mary's like, what? So then Mary's in confession like, who is Aaron? Who is Aaron? So then you see Mary walk over to Meredith, and Mary's like, that's Jared, right? And Meredith's like, no, girl, I think his name is Aaron. And she's like, who is Aaron? Like, Mary is so like over it. And so Meredith did what I would do. I would Google, because then Aaron was behind Meredith, and Mary was like, ask him what his name is. And Meredith was like, no. And so she Googled, and she was like, this is Jared. That's not, and that's Aaron. And so Mary looking at the phone like, I was weak. I was so weak. And so you could definitely tell that Brittany got a type, because Jared and Aaron, like they would be in the same category, or like in looks department of the type of men that like they kind of look the same. That's what I'm trying to say. So then we see Angie, tap on the glass because she wants to do a speech. She thanks everybody for coming. She said, there's been some stumps in the rug, with the rumors and the nastiness. And you see Bronwyn look at Meredith, and Meredith kind of had his face like, girl, don't try to embarrass me. I came to your house being nice. So be nice to me. And then the father comes up and he gives a speech. I feel like that man wanted to say, I thought you was gay, but I realized you're not, because you've been with my daughter for 25 years. Because the way he was speaking, he was like, when she brought me to you, when she brought you over, I thought you was a hippie. You had the earrings, you had the hair. I think that was his way of saying, I thought you were a gay man. I really do feel like that's what that man was trying to say. But hey, you done been here for 25 years and you're the best son-in-law I ever had. So you're perfect, And he said, and the dad was like, I want to be here for another 25 years. It was a sweet speech. Angie ends up saying, after her mom passed away, she was like, my dad really stepped up. And I did not know Angie had that many siblings. Like, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 kids. 7. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that's 6. Yeah, no, that's 7. 7 children. And her mom, Georgia, unfortunately passed away. And the daddy, she said, my dad really stepped up as a father and took care of his kids. And I was like, that's how it's supposed to be. Okay, but that's crazy. That's a lot. That is a lot. And then they hugged each other and he was like, how did I do? And she said, you did perfect. Like, you did great. Like, that's a real dad right there. Like, you lost your wife and you still, like, you did the best you could with taking care of 7 kids by yourself. Wow. Because I don't think Angie has ever said that her father got remarried or had a girlfriend. He possibly had girlfriends, but it doesn't seem like he got remarried. So that says a lot about how much you love your kids, bro. Party is continuing, and everyone's having a good time. We end up seeing Bronwyn pull Angie to the side, and she basically is like, girl, love the party. I'm having a party next week because me and Todd's anniversary is then. But I just want you to know, Lisa's mad at you because Heather told her that you said she was a bad mother. Angie's face was like, for real? And she said, yeah, girl. Yeah. And so Angie's like, I don't like the fact that Heather told her that. And Bronwyn was like, well, yeah, it seems like you were having like a venting sesh where you were being, saying a little spicy things. And Heather went around and told her that. And she was like, it circled back to Lisa and she mad. So I felt like you needed to know, so you weren't walking around the party knowing that somebody here is mad at you and you didn't know that they was mad at you. And what's interesting to me about this is Angie did the same thing to Lisa. That's why Lisa is mad at Angie, because Angie told what Lisa said about Whitney to Whitney. And Angie and Lisa and Angie, like when Lisa told Angie, that was like in confidence, like friends having a conversation, venting. So I understand Angie's frustrations, but it's like, now you understand why Lisa was upset, because you did her the same way. And I was just kind of like, if y'all gonna be mad at Heather, y'all should also be mad at Angie as well. So we see, we end up seeing Bronwyn in her confessional pretty much being like, well, Heather has pretty much thrown me under the bus multiple times about the things that I've said and held my feet to the fire. So I feel like, why can't I do it too? And honestly, did I think Heather was wrong in the beginning of the season with, throwing Bronwyn out there? No, I'm not. But am I mad at Bronwyn for getting her lick back? No. Do what you got to do, lady. Get your lick back. And it was a good lick. She got her back real good. So then we see this scene with Brittany and Lisa, where Brittany is just kind of like, are we okay? Are we good? Because like, I know at the zip line and it got kind of heated, and she was just like, it was just so much like, Jared broke up with me, and then he was saying it was all because of us texting and the FaceTime thing, and it's just like, it was a lot for me because I really care about him. And Lisa was like, no, like, we're good, but like, you deserve better. Like, reading those text messages, it triggered me because it reminded me of my ex that I was engaged to at least like 3 times before I got the courage to like leave him. And it's like, you deserve better, and you shouldn't be messing around with somebody like that. So then Mary pulls up, and Mary's like, what y'all talking about? And it was like, oh, we're talking about you, Mary. And Mary was like, they were like, girl, no. But then Lisa's like, are we good? Because I feel like you really went off on me when we was at the zip lining thing. And so then that's when Mary is like, well, you know what, Lisa, I feel like when it comes to me, you never take my side. You always take the other person's side when I'm in an argument. And Lisa's like, well, no, I was only standing up for Heather because like the things you were saying were really hurting her. And honestly, I was on Heather and Lisa's side, because I don't think in that regard when Mary was like, Heather lies, that she was lying about the body positivity thing. When it comes to the black guy, yes, she lied for like 2 years for that. But when it comes to body positivity, no, because in my mind, I agree with Heather. Like when the body positivity movement started, it was about respecting and showing love and positive like energy towards bodies that were all different. But now the body positivity movement is only propping up fat people that have aesthetically pleasing bodies. Like they have barely any rolls, any stretch marks, like the stomach isn't too big, or everything is proportional. And if you're not proportional, or if you're short like me and you got a gut, that is not like readily praised. It's oftentimes ridiculed. So I do agree with Heather in that regard. So then Heather pulls up, and Heather's like, what are y'all talking about? And then Heather and Mary get into it, where Heather is just like, because I think Mary's like, well, Heather, I feel like you leave a trail of lies. And Heather's like, are you serious, Mary? Like, that's mad disrespectful. And you got Lisa being like, girl, calm down. Because Heather is getting really amped. And Lisa's like, okay, chill a little bit, sis. And she was like, man, Mary, shut the, like, Mary, I think she's told Mary to shut the F up, or she was like, girl, shut the hell up. And Mary said, don't do that with me. Because Mary's face was really like, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? So then Heather is like, Mary, I've been trying to move forward with you because you like, and everything, you have been very nasty towards me. So don't even go there with me about calling me a liar, because everything I've said about you has been true. You may not have liked it, but it's been true. And I remember earlier in the episode, Mary said something in her confessional as it refers to Heather, where she says, don't lie. Even if the truth is ugly, still tell the truth. And so they start arguing back and forth, and Heather's like, Mary, when have you ever been good to me? Like when, because I think Mary said something like she's been nice to her, and I think Mary and Heather was like, when have you ever been good or nice to me? And Mary's like, when have you ever been nice to me? So it was like the Uno reverse. They were going back and forth, and so then Heather was like, Mary, I thought we were good. I thought we were cool, bro. Like I thought we were moving on the path, moving forward. And so then Lisa is like, well, Mary, do you think that you've gotten everything out? Like, have you said everything you needed to say about me and about Heather? Because that's what it feels like you had a lot of things to say about us, but you've been holding back, and now you're saying it. And Mary's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm great. I've got everything else. Like, I got what I need out. I'm good. And so then Lisa's like, can we hug? And Mary's like, she was like, can we fist bump, high five? She's like, girl, we good. So then Mary gonna go and sit next to Electra, and I guess maybe one of her friends or a cousin. And they were like, what's, she was like, that was a lot. And the girl's like, what happened? She's like, me and Heather got into it. I say, them little kids don't know what's going on. And then Mary's like, it's just women. And they were just looking at her like, okay. And then she's just like, I feel like me and Heather are good because we got it out. Mary, leave the kids alone. They don't know what's going on. We actually have a conversation between Angie and Heather, where Angie pretty much confronts Heather and is like, well, girl, I just found out from Bronwyn that you went and told Lisa that I said she was a bad mother. And Heather cops to it. She's like, yeah, I told her because I felt like you were throwing digs at her. You did the whole like video game thing dig. You've been really going at her. And it just seems like your loyalty has like shifted. And it's like, it feels like out of nowhere. And so Angie is like, what about you being loyal to me? Like, we've been friends for 15 years. You know me longer. And you are not being fair about this situation. Especially when you're saying like, I'm the main one coming at Lisa. And to be honest, I feel like Angie started it with Lisa, but Lisa didn't do herself any favor when she didn't want to have like a real conversation with Angie and actually have a sit down with her. She got frustrated and walked away. And in one regard, what Angie is saying is true, that Lisa is the type of person that if you are her friend, she wants you to always agree with her and never really challenge her. But I feel like in this instance, that scenario doesn't apply, because to me, I'm on Lisa's side in the sense of like, girl, if we were having a venting sesh and then you ran back to the person that I have issues with and told them everything I said, I would look at you like you were the op or look at you sideways, because why would you do that? And we're supposed to be friends. And like, you knew what this session was about. The same way that it is wrong that Heather went and told Lisa what Angie said, because you could tell that Angie was venting in that moment. And that wasn't a conversation that, needed to be repeated. But also Angie did it on camera, but Lisa did it on camera too. So really, they both kind of messed up. So then Heather's like, I want to understand why you listening to Bronwyn and we've been friends for that long. Like, why is she trying to meddle in this? So they walk over to Bronwyn because Heather's like, let's go talk to Bronwyn. So Heather's looking at Bronwyn like, why are you trying to get in my relationship with my friend? And Bronwyn is like, well, you did it to me. Like, I'm doing it back to you. I'm getting my lick back pretty much. And so Heather tells Angie, are you really going to sit here and like let this person be in your ear about our relationship? And Angie's like, I don't think she's been in my ear. And Heather looks at her like, girl, what? And she's like, okay, she's been in my ear. And so she's like, you really are going to believe what she said about my, like about our, like, you're just going to believe her over me. For real, Angie? So then that's when Bronwyn ends up being like, well, girl, you the one that thinks you in charge of everybody's relationships. Like, you are like regulating, starting fires everywhere else. Like, you think you the head bitch in charge and you really not, sis. Like, if we going to put it on the table, put it on the table. And so Heather gets so frustrated and angry because one, she got found out for meddling and she just is like annoyed by it. And I think the other part is she don't really see it for Bronwyn. So Heather just is like, you know what, Angie, forget this. And she walks away from the table. So after Heather leaves the table, and mind you, I forgot to say Millie was at the table too. Why is she here? Because she's starting to give me Seba. If you watch Real Housewives of Dubai, like, but then again, Seba, we saw more scenes of Seba, even though she really didn't add nothing to the season, but it's like she was engaging. I don't really see Millie like in anybody's conversations or trying to have conversations with the girls like that since that episode where she confronted Lisa about making the joke about her wearing returning all her clothes to Neiman and Marcus. So I'm confused, like, what's up? And mind you, I know y'all told me it's I think it's Melly. I've been saying Millie, but it's Melly. I don't get why she here. I really don't. So, because I feel like if she had a confessional, she had to have filmed more scenes, and I don't get why we haven't seen those scenes. But pretty much, Heather leaves that table, and then she goes to a table that has Whitney, Meredith, Whitney, Meredith, a random guy, Justin, and they're like, are you okay? Like, Meredith's like, you good? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. Then next thing you know, Jared walk in the door. He walks in the door and Justin immediately greets him. And you see Lisa go up to Brittany like, did you just see who just walked in the door? Did you just see who just walked in the door? And Brittany's like, what are you talking about? And then you see Heather like hug Jared. And then Brittany sees him and she's like, when I tell you, I screamed, y'all. I screamed. Because she was like, oh my God. Like, and it was like one hand. And I think it was like the added effect of the second hand where she was like, I was like, girl. And and she's like, oh my God. And Meredith's like, oh, so that's Jared. And then Mary finally gets like, oh, they're two different people. She's like, oh, that's Aaron. That's Jared. She's like, I get it now. I get it now. So Jared's there. Brittany is having a breakdown. All of a sudden, she starts like getting emotional. We find out they were like, did Angie invite him? Whitney's like, Justin invited him, but like, I don't think he knows what he did. I said, no, your husband's just as messy as you, sis, because they show a text message of him texting Jared an hour earlier, and his text message is legit like, hey, we are at Angie's party and Brittany is here. If you're in the area, come by. You know what's up. If Brittany didn't show up with him and she got a new man on her arm, why are you inviting this man here? That's because your husband's messy like you, Whitney. He's messy. It's messy. Because the way he was laughing in that confessional, I said, that man's messy. That's a messy man right there. And so Brittany is trying not to cry, but she crying. You know, Aaron is just looking at Brittany like, girl, Brittany's just like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And so Angie is like, well, okay, hi. Because I was like, I also feel like that's tacky. Who are you to invite another stranger to somebody's house if they're not on the guest list? So Angie's like, okay, he here. I guess we're going to have to be nice to him and invite him in. You got Heather being like, girl, she over there crying. Like, this is kind of bad. So Melly is like wiping her eyes. Lisa is like, take a deep breath. You got Whitney and Heather just being like, girl, this is messy. So then Bronwyn is me. Bronwyn was like, you okay? You want me to go get you a drink? And Brittany's just like, She was like, do you need a hug? Like, don't. She was like, yeah. And then they hug, and I said, girl, I'd have been like, oh, girl, here you go. Okay, get off me. Brittany, like, surrounded by a few of the girls, and Lisa's like, I got 4 sisters. I'm trying to tell Brittany, get up over there, talk to that man, and put in like in this relationship and never double back around again. And so Brittany's like, you need to have a conversation with him. So have a conversation with him. And she's like, okay. And so Lisa's like, I'm gonna come over there with you. Lisa, and I'm not gonna lie, Lisa meant business, because Lisa was like, hi Jared, I'm not really happy that you're here, because honestly, if this was my event, or if you was with me, I'd have kicked you out. I'd have told my friend to kick you out. But this ain't my house, this ain't my event. But hi, you need to have a conversation with Brittany. Y'all need to go outside and have a conversation. So Brittany's like, can you have a conversation? Can we have a conversation? And Jared's like, okay. So Jared chewing on that dang gum. They sitting outside. She was like, why are you here, Jared? And he was like, I didn't come here, Brittany, to make you feel any type of. He's such a scumbag. He's so sleazy. He was like, I didn't come here to make you feel any type of way, Brittany. Like, I came because I wanted to see you, because I miss you. And I know you got a date. I'm not trying to ruin your date. I'm just trying to see if you're okay. Get out my face. Get out my face. And Brittany's like, Jared, I don't know. Like, this is so hard for me. This is just so hard for me, Jared. And he's like, he knows Brittany's going to end. I promise you, I bet you he knows by the end of the night, Brittany's going to call him, tell him to come over. He's going to, do what he do to her, jump her bones, and then they're going to be back together, or back on the hamster wheel of this situationship, or whatever they want to call this relationship. So then her date, Aaron, is like, are you okay? He better than me, because you embarrassing me over here crying about this man, and I'm your date, and you in my face crying. And she's like, yeah, I'm just really emotional right now. It's a lot. It's a lot. The episode is Lisa and Whitney finally having a conversation. So Whitney ends up being like, Lisa, like, why did you leave your jewelry that I gifted you back in Milwaukee? Lisa lies, and she's like, oh, I forgot about it. Girl, you ain't want that. It was in the trash where you wanted it to be. She says, that story that was going around about my jewelry and Alibaba, well, I contacted somebody, and they pretty much confirmed that it was you. When I tell you, Lisa didn't even wait until Whitney got that full sentence out before she flipped out and was like, what are you talking about? That's not me. You're going to be very sorry accusing me of something that I did not do, because that's not me. And Whitney's like, well, Lisa, they can confirm. And Whitney's like Lisa's like, that is not me. When I tell you Lisa was on one, because she was like, are you serious? She was like, Whitney, the last thing you said to me, you texted me, was that you love me. And Whitney's like, yeah, I do love you. That's why it effing hurts that you would do me like this. Lisa's like, Whitney, it wasn't me. I said, Lisa, breathe. You're going to have a stroke the way you're yelling. So now everybody in the party is like, girl, what's going on? So now you have, I think it was Angie and Meredith now came to the table to like calm it down. And Lisa's like, it wasn't me. Stop saying that it was me. So then Lisa's like, you know what? Give me the name. Because I'm about to sue him. Next thing you know, Lisa pulls out her phone and she gets on the phone with her private security, I guess, who does cybersecurity. You see Heather asking John like who she's on the phone with. And John's like, I think it's our cybersecurity guy. And Lisa's like, hi, so-and-so. I don't know. What was his name? Let me see. Sean. She's like, hi, Sean. She was like, I'm being accused of something that I did not do, and we're about to sue this person, because what you're not about to do is play with my character. And then Lisa in the confessional was like, Whitney thinks she's like Nancy Drew connecting the dots. Well, girl, you failed history, math, science, and everything else. You don't connect dots. Do things that you're good at, but connecting dots is not one of them. So Lisa is pissed. Whitney feels like the way Lisa is acting is a justification that she got caught. But even if I didn't have the tea of what Up and Adams said or what Dana Wilkie said, I didn't even think that Lisa did it, because I feel like Lisa wouldn't be this sloppy, especially after last season with the whole exposing of reality Von Tease. This felt like something orchestrated by Whitney, in the sense of, it was like, Whitney, if it wasn't that deep to you and you don't want people to have this negative, like, what's it called, shadow over your business, why are you driving this story? Like, you pushing it like now because I thought it was done in Milwaukee, you bringing it back up to the group with trying to figure out who put the story out there, and it's really feeling like it's a planted story, sis. But okay, so like Lisa's pissed. Lisa's like, you're a liar, bro. You're a liar. And she walks away from the table and she was like, you know what, every time I think you my friend, you do something to F it up. Like, you're a liar, bro. And so she walks away from the table and then she pivots and walks back around. She says, you know what, Whitney, I don't even know if this is true. I don't even know if what you're saying to me is true. And I feel like if Whitney really believed the information that she got from her source, then she would give the name. The fact that she won't give up the name so it could be like legitimately verified would make me question her. So Whitney's just like, yeah, bro. Like, Lisa's like, you know what, forget this. So then Lisa walks over to Justin and is like, how do you deal with someone that lies so much? How do you deal with a wife that lies? So Justin is like, don't call my wife a liar. Then John pulls up and he was like, get out my wife's face. Honestly, Lisa was wrong. You shouldn't have went over to that man. All right. You entered his space and he was going to defend his wife just like John is about to defend your honor. Cause I saw the sneak peek, and with Justin saying he going to beat this man down, I said, Justin, John looked like he could beat your ass. I wouldn't try that man. He might be skinnier than you, but the way in that sneak peek, that man went in front of you like, what's up? He was too ready to put paws on you, sir, about Lisa. John was not playing about his wife, just like you weren't playing about Whitney. So I don't really even fault the husbands. Lisa had no business going up over there. You should have kept it to the girls. And everyone's just like, what's going on? Angie like, ugh, they about to fight in my house. We don't got insurance for all of this. Keep it cute. Great. And I can't wait till episode 7. But as always, y'all, remember to be bravely authentic. Definitely hop down in the comments below and share your thoughts with me. And if you like what you heard, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you like it. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.